Welcome. This is Pia, and today our guest is Nishant Pandey, the dynamic CEO of the American India Foundation, that's AIF. Nishant is an accomplished leader who has brought strategic vision and innovative approaches to AIF's global operations. And with a background in economics and a passion for anthropology, Nishant transitioned from a promising career in banking to the development sector, where he has made significant contributions. His work with Oxfam and now AIF exemplifies his commitment to creating impactful multi-stakeholder partnerships. Nishant's thought leadership in development issues, corporate social responsibility, and public-private partnerships has been featured in prominent media outlets and academic forums. Today, we are excited to learn more about his journey, AIF's initiatives, and the upcoming 42nd Annual India Day Parade. So let me welcome the guest. Hi, Nishant, and welcome to ITV Gold.
Hi, Pia.
So please just walk our viewers through your illustrious background.
Illustrious, I don't know about that. But as you mentioned, I'm trained as an economist. And like most economists do, I started off as a banker. But I think, thankfully, very quickly, I kind of realized that development sector, social sector was my calling. So I made the switch and joined a global charity called Oxfam that works in about 80 countries worldwide. I worked in several countries, starting out, of course, in India, then moved to the UK, which is the head office of Oxfam, worked in several roles there. And my last assignment at Oxfam was as the country director for Israel and Palestine, based out of Jerusalem. That's when me and my wife, we thought it was time for us to go back to India after living outside India for many, many years. And thankfully, gratefully, it just happened that the American India Foundation was looking for someone to lead their India operations. So I moved back to India as the country director for AIF. I was there for 3 years, which is when the board of AIF asked me to move to New York and take over as the CEO. So I have been the CEO of AIF for the last 6+ years, based here in New York.
So here you are, at AIF. And so let's talk about, AIF, which is the largest US-based organization, which is aimed at poverty elevation in India. Just give our viewers a sense of what AIF does.
AIF mission is very simple. Our mission is to empower underprivileged women, children, and youth in India, and do it in a way that it strengthens the partnership, the relationship between the two largest democracies of the world. AIF is a collective philanthropic platform that was created in 2001 at the initiative of President Clinton and at the suggestion of the then Indian Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. We execute our mission through high-impact programming on health, education, livelihoods, and leadership. These are very, very important areas when you are a poverty reduction organization. And so that's what we do. And we work in very close partnerships with the governments, with the private sector, with civil society organizations, and of course, with our donors and host communities. So that's what we do in short at AIF.
Nishant, my curious mind, it wants to know, there are so many organizations that are aimed to create this social impact in India. So what sets AIF apart from them?
Yeah, I'm asked this question often. And first of all, I want to say that most of these organizations do a great job. They're all run by very passionate people. So, I respect a lot of them. In fact, I've been a founding member of what is called as the India Philanthropy Alliance, which is a group of India-focused charities here in the US. I'm the vice chair of IPA and also the secretary of IPA. So the goal is to make sure that we work together, we coordinate together. Now, I think what sets AIF apart, a couple of things. One is our focus on what is called as multi-dimensional poverty. So as we all know, health, education, livelihoods are three of the most, urgent, most immediate, most essential needs of poor people anywhere in the world, and definitely so in India. And education, health, and livelihoods, they also kind of positively or negatively reinforce each other. So if you have not had good quality education, your ability to earn livelihoods for yourself and for your family gets impacted. If you don't have enough income, your ability to access good quality healthcare gets impacted. So that's why from day one, AIF was conceived not as an education organization, not as a health organization, but rather as an organization that works in an integrated, holistic way to address multidimensional poverty. Mm-hmm. And we leverage our capabilities across all these three areas to make sure that communities that we serve get a holistic solution to the problems that they have. So that is the first thing which I think makes us different from other India-focused organizations. The second thing which I think has been a strength of AIF for all these years is our focus, our relentless focus on leverage. Leveraging the private sector partnerships, leveraging public sector partnerships. We have a strong track record of working with governments in India. When I say governments, I mean governments at all levels, local level, state level, and central level. And leveraging the resources, the infrastructure, the capacities that they have on the ground in India. There is no bigger player than the government in India, both in terms of outreach, but also in terms of resources, right? So for a smaller, for a small organization like AIF, in the larger scheme of things, we are small. It is important to make sure that every dollar that we invest goes to the maximum. And the only way to do that in a country like India, the only way to scale things and to ensure sustainability is to partner with the government. So our focus is a lot on working with the government and leveraging their resources.
So, Nishant, with the kind of experience you bring to the table, what kind of advice would you give to the up-and-coming leaders in the international development space, especially focused on India?
Well, I don't want to pretend that I'm a guru, and in the sector, it keeps kind of humbling you every day, and you have to keep learning every day. But if I look back at the last 25 years of my experience in this sector, I think there are a couple of things I want to mention. As a leader, it's very important. Mm-hmm. First of all, I think, it's important to remind ourselves that development is not a quick fix. It takes time. It is often frustrating, obviously eventually rewarding if you achieve your goals, but sometimes frustrating. So as a leader, you have to have a very, not easy to maintain, but very important balance between passion, which brings a sense of urgency to the work that you do, mm-hmm. and patience, which helps you, be patient when things are not happening or things are not moving at the pace that you want them to move. Poverty is a very, very complex subject and not very easy to address. And so people who are in the sector have to have a very good balance between being passionate and being patient. So that's the first thing I think I want to, if you like, advise emerging leaders in the sector. Mm-hmm. The second thing is that I feel that there is still a trust deficit between nonprofits and the general public, and nonprofits and governments and so on. And therefore, again, a relentless focus on making sure that you have very strong systems in the organization around transparency and accountability. Mm-hmm. I'm very glad to share with your viewers that when I took over as the CEO of AIF 6 years back, I put a lot of focus on that. And for the last few years, we have had the highest rating by Charity Navigator and the highest rating by Candid, platinum rating by Candid. So it's very, very important to make sure that you have a very, very strong focus on transparency and accountability.
All right. So let's now focus on AIF. Again, let's talk about, you can elaborate on its mission and vision and how these are reflected in your, work with underprivileged population in India?
So as I mentioned, our focus is on women, children, and youth, and we do it through our work on health, education, and livelihoods. Now, these are very broad areas, and you can do so many things under each of these verticals. So what we do is we design and then execute in partnership with lots of stakeholders, what we call as flagship programs. These are programs that are designed on issues that we believe are of strategic development interest for India. So, for example, under health, we run a program called Mansi. Mansi stands for, Mansi is a Hindi word, which means woman, but it's also an acronym for Maternal and Newborn Survival Initiative. It's a multi-award winning program of AIF focused on reducing very high levels of maternal and newborn mortality in India. Despite tremendous progress that India has achieved, India still unfortunately contributes close to 20% of total newborn deaths in the world. That comes to roughly about 800,000 babies that die within 28 days of birth. So there is absolutely no way the world can achieve Sustainable Development Goal 3 if India does not perform. So Mansi is our answer to not just saving lives in some of the most remote and rural and underserved regions of India, but also to help move the needle at a global level when it comes to SDG 3. Under education, we have designed two programs. One is called Digital Equalizer, which has been running for more than 15 years now. And there the goal is to leverage technology to bridge digital and gender divide in public education system in India. And we work only in government schools in DE and across India, across the length and breadth of India. The second program that we have designed under education is a very special program called Learning and Migration Program, which is focused on education of children of migrant communities in India. There are about 150 million people in India who engage in what is called as distress seasonal migration. These are families that migrate for 6 to 7 months a year. They are forced to migrate for 6 to 7 months a year in search of livelihoods, because in their villages, there's only one rainfall and there is no work to do for the rest of the year. What happens in this migration is that the entire family migrates, which means that the education and learning of children get disrupted. So what LAMP does is to make sure that children continue to learn and get educated while parents migrate. And so that's a very, very niche program that we run by definition in some of the very, very remote, rural, underserved, underdeveloped, mostly tribal regions of India. Under livelihoods, our focus has been on skilling and entrepreneurship, especially focusing on women and girls. Unfortunately, India has one of the lowest female workforce participation rates in the world, again, despite all the progress. And our goal is to make sure that the demographic dividend that India has is leveraged to its full potential, and that young women and girls are able to realize their potential through skilling and employability and entrepreneurship. So these are the kind of program portfolio that we have at AIF. And then we have a very special program called Banyan Impact Fellowship Program, which also happens to be our longest running program. It was started right when AIF was started. There is no Peace Corps in India. So there is absolutely no opportunity for young professionals to go and volunteer in India. And so when AIF was started, the very first thing we did is to create a program which was to provide opportunity for young professionals to go to India and engage in what we call as service leadership. So about 25 to 30 young professionals are deployed with social organizations in India for a period of 10 months. And about 580 such young professionals have graduated from this program over the last 23 years. Our goal over the next 10 years is to graduate about 300 such young professionals. The overarching goal of this program, the purpose of this program is to develop a constituency of emerging leaders, future leaders in the US who are invested in the idea of a very strong US-India partnership, US-India relationship. Whether they go into the government or the private sector or the social sector, wherever they go with a very warm feeling and affiliation towards India, and they continue to be champions and ambassadors for a strong US-India relationship. So it's a very highly strategic and very, very special program for us. So that's what we do concretely on the ground in India.
All right, this was all serious stuff we were talking about, but let's now go to some like fun kind of stuff. And I know you are in New York and India Day Parade is coming soon. So tell me, share with us what makes AIF's inaugural participation special in that parade.
Well, first of all, I mean, we have participated in the India Day Parade in the past, but this is the first time we're going to have our own float, and we're absolutely thrilled about it. The India Day Parade is in New York on August 18th, so only just a few days away. And it's special for us because we are actually at the eve of of celebrating our 25th anniversary.
Wow.
So AIF has been around for 25 years. We have impacted over 19 million lives in the last 25 years. So there's a lot to celebrate, and frankly also a lot to think about in terms of what we want to achieve over the next 25 years. And so we decided to have our own float this year at the India Day Parade on this very, very special occasion. The other thing which is exciting is that we will have in-person presence of multi-generational pool of AIF supporters and ambassadors, right from teens to senior global board members, and lots of supporters and volunteers, senior volunteers in between, and of course our dedicated staff who will get a chance to interact with the larger community, celebrate India's heritage, and of course talk about the importance of philanthropy in the social change space. It doesn't matter who you are and what your capacity is. Everybody should be thinking about giving back and contributing to positive social change. So that is what is making us very, very excited about the upcoming India Day Parade.
Absolutely. And, Nishant, I'm really thrilled that you're going to have the first time afloat there at the parade. So tell me who and what, can attendees expect to see on AIF's float, and how will it visually represent the lives transformed by your programs?
Well, the float obviously will represent who we are as an organization and what we have done, what we stand for. So visually, it will have lots and lots of pictures of images of our work from the ground in India, people and communities that we have served so far because of the support that we get from the community here in the US. So there will be lots and lots of visuals of the impact we have created and we continue to create. And as I said, there will be a lot of people from the AIF ecosystem, from our global board, from our tri-state board, from young professionals in the tri-state, from our fellows, the Pan Impact Fellows that I was talking about, youth ambassadors, and of course our own staff on the floor to interact with the community and to kind of, engage them with AIF's mission.
Wonderful. So now let's go back to a little bit more serious stuff and talk about AIF's key priorities for the future, and how does participation in events like this, like India Day Parade, which is a huge event, and you are it will help you support your long-term mission.
Yeah, as I said in the beginning, AIF is a collective philanthropic platform, and the word collective is very, very important. Usually what happens is that nonprofits are started by one or two individuals, and the work that it does represents the interest and passion of those individuals. AIF from the very beginning has been a very collective effort. There's no one or two founders of AIF, which means that it belongs to everyone. It belongs to everyone who chooses to engage with AIF. And it's a platform organization because you can add value in the way that it makes most sense to you. So that's why it's very, very important to kind of underline this identity of the organization. So that's what makes community events like the India Day Parade very interesting and exciting for an organization like AIF. Of course, as I mentioned before, we are already thinking about ambitious goals for the next 25 years, whether it is in the space of adolescent girls' health or education for children in India, or skilling and entrepreneurship for young men and women in India. None of this work would be possible without the support of the community here. And of course, the New York Tri-State community is one of the most vibrant and thriving communities that we have in our AIF ecosystem. So this is an opportunity for us to talk to our supporters, to get their feedback, to engage them, and hopefully excite them to be a part of the AIF ecosystem.
You know, Nishant, really talking to you, I feel very intrigued and interested basically in learning more about AIF, you know, its work, and how can people be supporting you in this mission, and you know, what can they do at the parade and of course beyond the parade?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for asking me this question. Obviously, you know, please come and join us at the India Day Parade. Learn more about AIF and what we do. You can also follow us on social media. We are very active, and you will get to learn so much about the organization and the work that we do pretty much on a daily basis from our social media. You know, follow us on Instagram, follow us on LinkedIn. If you have a LinkedIn account, it's American India Foundation USA that you can follow. Also, you can go on our website aif.org and subscribe for our monthly newsletter, where we give lots and lots of exciting updates on our programs and the events we do, the awards that we get for the work that we do, and lots of community news. So that's a very, very, very effective and very easy way to kind of learn about the organization. And then there are some very tangible volunteer bodies that we have in the New York Tri-State area that you know, we would love for people to come and join. I've already mentioned young professionals body, youth ambassadors, which is for high school kids. Of course, our Banyan Impact Fellowship program. You should go on the website and check it out and learn more about it. And of course, our National Leadership Council and other volunteer bodies that you can join. So there are so many ways to engage with AIF and its mission, and we would love for your viewers to reach out to us, and we will be happy to tell them more about it.
You know, Nishant, we are running out of time, but the last question that's coming to my mind is, what would you like our viewers to take away from this conversation around AIF? And if there is one thing you want them to do, what would it be?
I think just join us. As I said, you know, we have an ambitious agenda. It's not easy, and the only way we can achieve our goals is by having more and more people as our supporters, as our ambassadors, as our champions. So my request to all of you viewers is to come and join us and join the mission and join this movement. Together, we can create a lasting positive change in the lives of so many people back in India.
You know, wishing you all the best and wishing AIF all the best. And definitely, we will all see you at India Day Parade.
Thank you so much, Priya, for this opportunity. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Same here. Thank you so much.